People, I hope I'm not boring the people. Guess what? This is all about Andrew Holness said, boy, I tell you what. It's not his fault. It's COVID and supply chain issues. So me argue the point. It's a matter that me chat so much. So me not get to the point. But the point is so, I would say, technical and dynamic. So I have to be able to kind of, deconstruct it in, intellectual terms and make you digest it in a more palatable, with gravy and some butter on it. Yeah.
Some of you lose your job so you never had any income. So while prices are go up, you don't have any income. That make you feel miserable, angry, cross. And I totally understand.
For it to serve its debt, it had to take a higher interest rate from the IMF and it had to structurally adjust the entire economy. But the worst part of it, they said, hey, you have to devalue your currency. People, these kind of deals must come out a Satan book. It cannot come out a normal book. So people, with Edward Seaga running the country, inflation went up. Remember, Jamaica was having a hard time servicing its debt. Interest rate fly up now, payment on its debt escalate. Now, the government asset is depleting. So guess what now? The election coming up again and Michael Manley running. Now, the people get frustrated now. So Michael Manley now in 88, 89, one of them time there, won the election again. Now, this whole democratic socialism, then Seaga took over. And Jamaica economy never really shifted, simply because Jamaica does not have the resources to get the capital to build its economy. Jamaica intellectual capital is very low. And then you have massive mismanagement of the country, combined with the OPEC oil crisis. So here come Michael Manley again. The same international body, the IMF and World Bank, that he was cussing out in the 1980s that he will not go on his knees and begging no money. Now he has to come back now with his basket. Mr. IMF, I'm in a position here now. I need a loan. Mr. IMF said, okay, Mr. Michael Manley, come on down. What are your needs today? Quite frankly, what's going to happen right now? They say, oh yes, Mr. Michael Manley, you can come over here for the loan. No, what does the Bible say? The borrower is always a slave to the lender. People, the borrower is always a slave to the lender. Now, let me kind of give a chronology of this kind of enslavement. The first enslavement was physical, where they brought us out of Africa through the plantation. They realized after a while that was counterproductive to business. So they had Emancipation Proclamation where they say, free the slaves but don't give them land. So we have a second level of slavery where the land became the new slave master. Because if the slaves own no land, they cannot provide clothes, food and shelter. They have to go sell their labor at a price. Now, if your labor power is not intellectual enough to get the big jobs and you get hit by neoliberalism, then what happened now, you just get your legs taken out from under you because you have no land. Now, what even worse than that is the money. You think that the land was bad, the money is even worse. Because guess what? When Manley went to IMF and they said, yes, Mr. Manley, come and we want to give you a loan. But guess what now? For you to get this loan, you have to do some structural adjustment. You must cut wages. You must freeze wages. You must cut education. You must cut nursing. You must build this that makes no sense. Keep in mind, people, in the midst of all of this, the 21 plus families are not being affected. You see, they have business that's trading in US dollars and other foreign currencies. So when the devaluation happened, they knew way ahead of time. And they basically adjusted their goods and services to mitigate that kind of inflation. The average man, he has no way to mitigate the problem, so he just get boom in the face. And his savings just obliterated. The 21 families, people, that's old money. Old money that own most of the lands back then. I'm going to read out a few names for you. You have the Brahmans. You have the Chinks, the Harts, the Fletchers, the Cheng Lees, the Cheng Yates, the Alexanders, the Asanites, the Mafoons, the Issas, the Denos and the Geddes, the Levites, and the big one at the top, the Matalas. People, these 21 plus families, they are, say, whites, they are Syrians, they are Chinese, few Indians, Arabs, Syrians, and then Jews. None of them black. And you must implement birth control to lower the population. People, you thought slavery was abolished. Yes, physical slavery was abolished. But it moved to where the land became the new slave master. Then it shifted to the finance where the money became the new slave master. In the 1970s, remember, Nixon moved the gold standard where you could get 1 ounce of gold for $30 US. No, it was fiat money flowing around. And the fiat money, which is the US money, is the dominant money. So now think about it. They devalue your currency. Now when they devalue it now, inflation spike now, so they with the US dollars and other currency now can come and buy up most of your lands again and buy up your industry. So in a situation where you're boxed in a corner, you cannot service your debt, you need cash, they lend you in US dollars, you have to pay back in US dollars, you're not producing anything, your intellectual class is flying away, so you're imploding. What do? So Manley has to go, oh Mr. IMF, I need help. And then like I said again, they just, the dagger was, they're turning the dagger now. And Jamaican people squealing like a pig. No. You have no negotiating power at the table. You're broke. For instance, if you have a high debt ratio in your personal life, and you go to the bank look and say, tell you what, your debt is too high, I can't lend any money. But guess what now? You need the money so bad, so what you do now? You have to go to a loan shark. The loan shark say, all right, you have to pay 20% on this loan. That was happening to the country. For it to service debt, it had to take a higher interest rate from the IMF, and you have to structurally adjust the entire economy. But the worst part of it, they said, hey, you have to devalue your currency. People, these kind of deals must come out as Satan book. It cannot come out a normal book. The man them say you must devalue your currency. Now think about it. Your people are already poor. They have no money. You're gonna get loans now in US dollars now. You are not produce enough goods to pay back in US dollars. And now the loan shark is saying you have to devalue your currency. So inflation go, and the little savings the man have just go shoop. People, me have to take serious thing, take joke on the people. The good saving go, the money disappear. People like, what's going on here? Because there's an outside force now telling you now that you broke, you have no money, so you must comply by our rules. The Bible says money answered all things. You remember Mayor what Charles says? I do not care who is the head of state and make the laws. Let me control the money supply and I'll tell you who controls the state. Oh. Furthermore, these politicians have good advisors. You remember what happened to Zimbabwe when Mugabe said, tell you what, we want to take back the land from the white farmers. What happened? United States and England sanctioned Zimbabwe, sanctioned Mugabe. Mugabe ended up dead. Today, Zimbabwe still has sanctions on it. South Africa did they say, tell you what, the government, they want to buy back some of the land where some of the whites own most of the land in South Africa. And they're buying back the land now to kind of lease them out to the black farmers. And the US up there getting mad. So what are you doing? You buying back the land now? They're buying back the land, you know, to help the farmers. And the US getting mad. Think about it. For you, when you get the loan, you have to pay back in US dollars. Your dollar has been devalued. Now that open up a window now for the same foreign investor now to go buy up on your industries now, pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. They're getting your industry cheap because your value has devalued and you're in a corner. This is why in Jamaica, literally government owns nothing. Sell out everything. I don't know, I jump JLP and PMP and all them kind of madness. Foolishness. Literally foolishness. So in that situation now, you sell out your industry. You have no money. Private capital buy up all industry like your food industry now. They control that market. I want to say this, people. I love the American people, straight up. But the American government says they have no friends, they have interest. So when you touch American interest, you know you have problems. You have big problems. And when you really look at it, don't listen to it, look at it. When it comes to helping black people, I said that before in one of my videos. US, not helping black people. In America, there's no reparation. We haven't got any money to really say, let's cut and say, tell you what, we're gonna help the black community. None of that. And when the black countries now trying to assert themselves, trying to make them better now, the pressure of sanctions and covert operation will take place. So when you really look at it as a black person, the system we live in, the system where you will not get no chance to rise up. So the Jamaican politicians them realize that, so they have to just try to craft for them own. And when you really look at it, there's no incentive to build up the black culture or the black community because they serve no interest now. Look at war in Ukraine and look at war in the Middle East now. US cut a check in no time and say, here's money, here's money. That money they cut could have really helped us. But at the end of the day, I would say we are not profitable investment vehicles. We don't have a good return on investment. We're designed to always be the underclass. So when we look at all of this and understand it, me have to cut. Someone who have cussed me out and say me have sell out, but me understand the system, you know. And me now go fight a system or fight a war that me cannot win. So me cut. Rather go in an environment where I don't have a whole lot of elites at the top. Go in an environment where boy me come like a little elite. And let me say this to you people. This is why I say look at Africa. Because the elites in Africa, there's no doubt. The big countries, the West, are exploiting Africa, but at least there's a little room that you can move on. If you have the intellectual way we talk about and have some money, you get the drift. No. How you gonna wrestle that away back from them? Are you gonna nationalize the industry? You're gonna have a second capital flight and the C, I and the A come down and deal with you? So hold this in a corner and say, boy, I tell you what, there's nothing I can do, which is true. Because he see the 500-pound gorilla looking at him and say, try. Furthermore, the amount of dirt we have on you, try it. Because guess what now? If he tried it, first they're gonna demonize him in the media. Number two, they're gonna character assassinate him. Then, if he tried to say nationalize, say, the flour, the PSOJ, the person who owns the flour industry, gonna say, tell you what, he's gonna call the producers area, say, in America or Canada, wherever, and he's gonna say to the producer, you know, guess what? You know, Mr. Hole is trying to nationalize our industry down here now, so guess what now? That producer gonna go to a senator and say, Mr. Ginsburg, we're having a problem develop here because guess what, you know, Jamaica import $200 million of flour every year. And you can imagine this leader wants to nationalize it. This boy from St. Catherine wants to come and interfere in our business dealings. He wants to nationalize. Now that senator now gonna call Holness and say, Mr. Holness, I think you should reconsider your position. You want to nationalize them, it's not good for business. And then Mr. Holness insists like Michael Manley. You know what happened? The C, the I, and the A gonna send out the jackals. And guess what? They have reached even in the parliament. You see, parliamentarian there may be working for them. So you think you're safe. You know how the system set up because they also will railroad you because they're easily bought. And you have my food mentality. Give me a money, give me a boy, 100,000, I may deal with him for you. So that's how the system is set up. So what happened is that he's stuck in a corner. He cannot stop the private sector from controlling the food market. And if he trying to promote the local agriculture business, like to tell you what, we need to make potato flour and we need to make cassava flour and so forth. The one who control the flour industry gonna run a mass ad campaign and say, no, tell you what, no, the cassava no good for you. This is backward stuff like what Lisa and I say, boy, eat what you grow and grow. It's the primitive thing that we don't need that. So they're gonna attack the local movement he's making. And you're gonna hear a man on the street and say, yo, I want my dumpling, I want my flour up in an ad, and they're gonna propagate the ad. And then the local foo-foo people are gonna say, boy, yeah, boy, I want my dumpling. So he's boxed in a corner because he's dealing with a population that is highly illiterate. You think Moses can free these kind of people? That's why me come. Me understand the system. I understand the system. The system is interconnected and highly interrelated. The system mixed up. This idea that you're voting for JLP and then PMP is a joke, it's a sham. That's not a democracy, people. It's an oligarch. A small elite control the economic base and the land. Then a small group of political elites control the political base. So what you have is what Plato called mob rule. Plato said democracy is mob rule. In my humble opinion, the democracy in Jamaica is like age wine. You drink a little, it tastes good. You consume too much, you get drunk. There are 5 things that the black Jamaicans produce. One is music. We produce music till the cows come home. Then we produce sports. Usain Bolt and all the other athletes make Jamaica known all over the world. But the elites again make most of the profit. Then we produce religion. We have the largest amount of churches per capita. And yet we have the most crime rate per capita. Then we produce people. We produce crime and violence. Can I get the gist, people? And don't forget, full entertainment. I remember Lee Kuan Yew saying one of his statements, he said when he came to Jamaica, and look, the people just love to dance. We just dance, dance, dance. You think dance can readjust the GDP of the country or make the country any better? But if you want the Jamaican people to move, man, you just put on a few music, man, and them lose their mind. People, Jamaica can be better. The elite class have enough money to make Jamaica look like Singapore or Saudi Arabia. But to the ruling class, there's no incentive to educate a slave population. There's no incentive. So how long you gonna kick against the prick? It ain't going nowhere. The only way Jamaica will develop, and they're going towards that, is when they implement the CBCD, the central bank digital currency, where they can monitor and track everything we do. You know the Jambex, you know digital currency? Yeah, they say Jamaica gonna develop, but it's when they can monitor everything you do. Remember, as I said, power will never give up any level of its hegemony until it can gain more power. Yeah. People, I have so much more to give you upon the health. I have a lot more to give you. So guess what? Adios from the alcalde. Finish your son now. More to come. And remember, subscribe button and like so we grow, so we can make waves. Yeah. Tired of making ripples in this place. I know. Waves we need to make. Alright, people. Love always. See you now. Yeah. Cut down.